Eric Fleming, born Edward Hetty Jr. on July 4, 1925 in Santa Paula, California, came into the world under difficult circumstances that would shape the trajectory of his early life. His childhood was marked by instability and reported abuse within the household, particularly at the hands of his father. These early experiences left deep emotional scars and forced him to mature quickly in a harsh environment. By the age of 8, he had already attempted to escape his home life, eventually finding himself on the streets of Los Angeles, where survival became his primary focus. He drifted through the city, taking on whatever work he could find, from shining shoes to assisting in small markets. These formative years exposed him to both hardship and resilience, shaping a toughness that would later define his screen presence. Though his early life was chaotic, it also laid the groundwork for reinvention, as he slowly moved away from survival-driven living towards self-discovery and eventual transformation. Descent into hardship and the turning point of injury. As Fleming entered adolescence, his circumstances did not improve. He became involved with gangs and petty criminal activity, a path that reflected both his environment and lack of stable guidance. During this turbulent phase, a serious incident involving a firearm led to a devastating facial injury. The injury required multiple reconstructive surgeries and left him physically and emotionally altered. At one point, complications from a failed operation left him temporarily disfigured, intensifying his sense of uncertainty about his future. However, this traumatic period became a critical turning point in his life. Confronted with the consequences of violence and instability, Fleming began to reconsider his direction. The experience instilled in him a desire to break away from destructive patterns and rebuild himself. It was during this recovery period that the foundations of a new identity began to form, one driven by discipline, structure, and a search for purpose beyond the streets that had defined his youth. Military service and the formation of discipline, seeking structure and redemption, Fleming enlisted in the United States Navy during World War II. His service marked a profound shift from his earlier life, introducing him to discipline, teamwork, and responsibility. Stationed in the South Pacific, he rose to the rank of petty officer and participated in active wartime operations. The Navy provided him with stability and a sense of belonging he had previously lacked. More importantly, it helped him develop resilience and leadership qualities that would later translate into his acting career. His time in the military instilled a strong sense of duty and emotional control, traits that became evident in his later performances. After being honorably discharged, he returned to civilian life with a renewed desire to improve himself intellectually and artistically. The transition from sailor to aspiring actor was not immediate, but the discipline he gained in service became a crucial foundation for his future success in Hollywood. Entering Hollywood and early steps toward acting. Upon returning from military service, Fleming began working at Paramount Studios in a modest labor position. Initially, he was far from the spotlight, performing manual tasks behind the scenes. However, his striking physical presence and quiet intensity soon caught the attention of individuals within the studio system. Encouraged to explore acting, he began taking classes and studying under professional coaches who helped refine his natural talent. His early acting work consisted of small roles in television anthologies and supporting appearances in films during the 1950s. These included guest spots in programs such as Studio One and The Silent Service, where he gradually built experience and confidence. Though these roles were minor, they allowed him to develop screen presence and emotional range. Each performance contributed to his growing reputation as a dependable and compelling actor, setting the stage for the breakthrough that would eventually define his career in the entertainment industry. Rise to fame. Through a defining television role, Fleming's career reached its peak when he was cast as Gil Favor in the CBS Western series Rawhide, which premiered in 1959. As the trail boss leading cattle drives across the American frontier, Fleming brought authority, depth, and moral complexity to the role. His performance anchored the series and gave it emotional weight, elevating it beyond standard Western entertainment. The show became a major success, running for several seasons and attracting a wide audience. Fleming's portrayal of Favor established him as a household name and a central figure in television westerns of the era. His character's leadership and ethical struggles resonated with viewers, and his steady presence became a defining feature of the show. Rawhide also played a significant role in launching the career of Clint Eastwood, who portrayed Rowdy Yates. The dynamic between the two characters added tension and balance to the series, contributing significantly to its popularity and cultural impact. Behind-the-scenes tensions and cast changes. By the mid-1960s, Rawhide began experiencing creative and logistical challenges as viewership patterns shifted. CBS executives, seeking to revitalize the series, made the controversial decision to overhaul its structure. This included the dismissal of several long-standing cast members, among them Eric Fleming himself. Alongside Fleming, actors such as Sheb Wooley, James Murdoch, Robert Cabal, and Rocky Shahan were also removed from the show. These changes disrupted the established ensemble dynamic that had defined the series for years. Fleming's departure was particularly significant as he had served as the emotional and narrative anchor of the show. His removal marked a dramatic shift in tone and direction. Reports from the time suggest that financial considerations and declining ratings influenced the decision. Fleming later commented on his dismissal with a mix of humor and frustration, suggesting that salary pressures played a role. The decision ultimately altered the identity of the series and contributed to its decline. A shifting leadership and the decline of Rawhide. Following Fleming's departure, Clint Eastwood was promoted to a leading role within Rawhide, taking over responsibilities previously held by Fleming's character. While Eastwood brought energy and charisma to the role, the transition significantly changed the tone of the series. The mentor-protege dynamic between Favor and Yates, which had been central to the show's appeal, was lost. Eastwood himself reportedly felt uncertain about the shift, recognizing the absence of the stabilizing influence Fleming had provided. Despite efforts to reformat the show, including new storylines and character developments, audience interest continued to decline. CBS eventually reduced the episode count and moved the series to a different time slot, a decision that placed it in direct competition with other popular programs of the era. These changes, combined with internal restructuring, accelerated the decline of Rawhide, which was ultimately canceled in 1965 after 8 seasons. Post-Rawhide career and continued acting work. After the end of Rawhide, Fleming continued to pursue acting opportunities in both film and television. One of his notable roles during this period was in The Glass Bottom Boat, a 1966 romantic spy comedy starring Doris Day. In the film, he played a suave supporting character, demonstrating his versatility beyond Western roles. He also made guest appearances on the television series Bonanza, where he portrayed a range of complex characters. In one episode, he played a morally corrupt lawman, while in another, he portrayed a religious rancher facing persecution. These performances highlighted his ability to adapt to different genres and emotional tones. Critics praised his depth and screen presence, noting that he could bring nuance even to limited screen time. Although he was no longer the lead of a major series, Fleming remained active and respected within the industry, continuing to build a reputation as a capable and compelling character actor. The High Jungle production and final project. In 1966, Fleming accepted a role in High Jungle, a television film project intended to showcase exotic adventure storytelling. The production took him to the remote Huallaga River region of Peru, where filming conditions were challenging and unpredictable. The project involved outdoor river sequences that required careful coordination and safety measures. Fleming, along with his co-star, participated in canoe scenes on fast-moving waters. Reports later revealed that safety precautions were inadequate, with insufficient equipment and limited supervision on set. Fleming reportedly expressed concern about the conditions and the risks involved. Despite these concerns, production continued under tight scheduling pressures. The decision to proceed with filming in hazardous conditions would later become a central factor in discussions surrounding the tragedy that followed. High Jungle ultimately remained unfinished, becoming more widely known for its association with Fleming's death than for its intended artistic purpose. The fatal incident on the river. During filming on September 28, 1966, tragedy struck when Fleming was involved in a canoe scene on the Huallaga River. The water conditions were strong and unpredictable, and the canoe used in the scene was reportedly unstable. While rehearsing or filming a sequence, the canoe capsized, throwing Fleming and his co-star into the river. His co-star managed to reach safety, but Fleming was swept away by the current. Rescue efforts were launched immediately, but his body was not recovered for several days. Early reports described the incident as a drowning accident, though details remained unclear. Over time, questions emerged regarding safety protocols and production oversight. Locals had reportedly warned the crew about the dangers of the river, but filming continued regardless. The incident marked a devastating end to Fleming's career and life, occurring at a time when he was still actively working and seeking new professional opportunities. Investigations, conflicting accounts, and emerging details. In the years following Fleming's death, inconsistencies in official accounts led to ongoing speculation about the circumstances of the accident. Limited investigation by local authorities and minimal media coverage contributed to uncertainty. Later findings suggested that safety measures had been inadequate and that the production environment was poorly managed. Confidential communications and crew recollections pointed to a lack of proper supervision during filming. Some accounts indicated that Fleming had suffered additional injuries beyond drowning, raising further questions about the exact sequence of events. These revelations suggested that the accident may have been preventable under proper conditions. While no definitive alternative cause of death was established, the emerging details painted a more complex picture of negligence and environmental danger. The production company ultimately discontinued the project, and much of the footage was never released, adding to the mystery surrounding the final days of the actor's life. Industry reaction and the end of a project. The aftermath of Fleming's death had immediate consequences for the High Jungle production. The project was halted entirely, and plans for its release were abandoned. Industry response was one of shock and sadness, as Fleming had been a well-known and respected figure in television. The abrupt end of the production also highlighted broader concerns about safety standards in remote filming locations during the era. Cast and crew members were reportedly discouraged from speaking publicly about the incident, and official statements emphasized accidental causes. The project itself faded into obscurity, remembered primarily as the final work of Fleming's career. The loss also had emotional repercussions for those close to him, including his fiancée, who was left to cope with the sudden tragedy. Within Hollywood, the incident served as a reminder of the risks associated with location filming and the need for stronger safety oversight. Legacy, memory, and the enduring mystery. Eric Fleming's life and career remain a mixture of resilience, success, and tragedy. From a difficult childhood to military service and eventual stardom, his journey reflected both struggle and achievement. His role in Rawhide secured his place in television history, while his later work demonstrated his range as an actor. His sudden death in 1966 cut short a career that still had potential for further evolution. Over time, discussions about his passing have focused not only on the accident itself but also on the conditions that contributed to it. While some narratives have suggested deeper controversies, the most widely accepted account remains that of a tragic filming accident under hazardous conditions. Today, his legacy is remembered through his performances and contributions to classic television. The mystery surrounding his final moments continues to be discussed, but his impact on the industry remains clear, defined by both his talent and the era in which he worked. Conclusion and reflection on a life cut short. The story of Eric Fleming ultimately stands as a reminder of both personal transformation and professional vulnerability. His early hardships, military service, and rise in Hollywood demonstrate a life shaped by resilience and determination. Yet his untimely death during the filming of High Jungle underscores the unpredictable risks associated with entertainment production during that period. While later accounts have sought to clarify or re-examine the circumstances, the central truth remains a tragic loss of life during a demanding shoot in difficult terrain. Fleming's legacy continues through his work, particularly his defining role in Rawhide, which helped shape television westerns of the 1960s. His story reflects both the promise and peril of Hollywood careers, where success and danger often coexist. In the end, his life is remembered not only for how it ended, but for the enduring impact of the performances he left behind.